Alright, so I'm assembling the next version of the mod, and we're using Sparker's little build bat script here. As you can see, it's doing stuff. It's good. It's so good, yeah. That just took my kill log folder, my functions, parsed through them all, and then built off of them the config CPP. I have function CPP and then config CPP. Normally you wouldn't include the functions in there, but I figured out a way of doing that, and I really like doing that. So basic flow, I've got the biz add-on info, wherever that went. There we are. It needs an author name. I commented out Sparker's timestamp because that wasn't me. Patches is the metadata, basically. Required version is for the mission, I believe, not for the ARMA 3. So required add-ons is for if they're standalone. I am repackaging the XTDB 3 mod from Torneko, so I don't need to do anything in there, and I'm not touching units and weapons because I'm just attaching a server-side script to record what's happening on the server. Include functions in the subfolder of functions with HPP extension takes us here. Class functions is the same as what you use when you do your own functions for missions. Same thing with the class name, and then we put our tag in there to avoid any namespacing conflicts. And I should make a note in here. Filename.sqf accessible as ELDB underscore FNC file name. So let's save that. Maybe I'll rerun that tool in a second here. But the next part in here is in the class functions. We have all the function names, which are normally, as it says up here, fn underscore the filename.sqf. Description means I don't have to open the files in order to know what's in them, or their purpose was. That's important in a month or two when I forget what I did and need to make a change. File is kind of interesting. That right there is the file containing everything, and we use that because the batch file isn't inside the folder with us when we're building this. Functions is the subfolder, and then of course we have the name of the file there. If I were to goof around and test things a little bit more, I could probably make this work, and I wouldn't need the full pathing anymore per se, or at least the file names, because it pull them in as local elements in the current directory, I believe. I'm not sure about that though. The add-on making is a little bit different than the CFG function making, but in CFG function making, file would mean I don't need to list the file path anymore. So one oddity in there that I'm not sure about, right? But I'm sure you could go on the forums for Bohemian Interactive and get some answers to that one. Where was the other part here? You don't actually need description and setup. I have them in there as informational purposes mostly. In here, he says not to change the, Sparker says not to change the stuff, and that's true for the Antistasi team membership mod he made. But I needed to change the pathing to include the folders that I was working with and then where I wanted them to go. Wildcards is where he keeps the other stuff like SQF and CPP and HPP, as you can see in there. So good stuff, very good stuff from Sparker. I'm very impressed with this thing. The only thing you haven't seen on there is where do I get the batch file he runs right here. Accesses the Steam add-on builder tools. And to get the add-on builder tools, you go to the Steam library and download the Steam tools. And then you can launch those, but you don't have to have them running. His batch file runs them for you, so I won't really worry about that per se. And once you run those, it pops them into, for me, this directory. And inside the Steam directory or inside the ARMA 3 directory where I put my mod, I also included the ExtentDB as a repackage, because that's a feature that Ternenko says you can do as long as you include his licensing. He's got the full license he operates under for the Creative Commons in here, right? And then he's got the floss exception, which is free and open source software. And he says as long as you include his licensing, you can repackage his stuff, which makes it a little bit easier to deploy for me. So his wiki is dead right now, unfortunately, because those GitLab's discontinued Mercurial support. But you can go to Google and put in the XTDB3 with the or the EXTDB3 with the ARMA 3 and GitHub, and it'll pull up another GitHub repository somebody else used to make a backup of his stuff. So I really like that, and that's why I used it for my mod to do the recording and the kill script stuff. And that's all I got for this portion of the tutorial.